really wanted to get a pulse on what's going on in our community, and I wanted to see how Christ has transformed lives here. So I put a question out on Facebook. Some of you may have seen it, and I said, how has Christ transformed your life? I got some wonderful responses. Thank you to those who did. I could do a whole series just on those responses, but I had to pray and find just one that spoke to my heart for you. And the one that I received that I'm going to share is about a couple who attends our church, and we're not going to name their names because they could be anyone. They told me that they had struggled with infertility and that there were lots of heartaches and setbacks on their journey. They have a child now, but it seemed like an eternity to actually get there. And when I talked to them, and when I spoke to them and they wrote to me, they said these words. The mother did. It took me some time, but I now realize that the struggle of infertility was actually a gift from God. Not only do I appreciate motherhood more than I would have without the struggle, but through the struggle, I feel like I found my faith. At my lowest point, I didn't know how to move on, but with infertility, that's the thing. I didn't want to move on. I didn't know which way to turn, but as it turns out, the crossroads I was at was not whether to turn right or left. It was to look up. I love that. I'm going to say it again. The crossroads that this person was at was not to look right or left. It was to look up to God. I now realize that God has a divine reason for the not yets, and the reason is different for everyone. For us, it meant a viable pregnancy and a beautiful child, but to others it means becoming a parent to an adopted child, or becoming a spiritual parent to a child in our lives. And yes, sometimes it means that an unanswered prayer for God's plan is always better than our own, even if we don't like it. Now, I share this story because it's a powerful story of transformation. This person is writing to us, and they have what they were praying for and sharing how they got there. This is a powerful story of God's faithfulness. And I don't know about you, but I give thanks to God to hear and know what's going on in this family's life. However, when I'm reading these words and I'm reflecting, I'm thinking, who was there for her during the time that she was struggling? Was the church? Was she able to come and say, it's hard right now, I'm struggling? Did she have other Christians to come alongside of her? Was she able to be honest about how she felt? Part of the transformation of becoming a disciple is going through a struggle sometimes, and she needed other people around her to carry her, to lift her up, to encourage her. So was the church there for her? I hope so. Because if we're disciples who make disciples, we have to be real and authentic with one another. We have to really care. Discipleship is not just about what you know. It's about who you know and what you're doing with it. We're not saved for ourselves only. We're saved to come alongside other people. So what are you doing with your messy, authentic life? If you had a small group right now, could you talk about it? I hope so, but I fear it's the opposite. Because we are told and we know that disciples make disciples through relationships.